Hi, welcome back to the Clean and Simple card series. Now, is this card clean? Is it simple? Stick around and we'll find out. Alright, so this is the card that we are going to make today, and I thought about, is this really a card that I would consider clean and simple? When I think of clean and simple, I personally think of a card that has a lot of white space in it. But I decided to include this in this particular series because I felt like that though it may not have a lot of white space, it was very simple and it's a great one to be able to mass produce. And I love all the sparkle and shine. Now, I am not going to make two different versions of this card, which I have sometimes done in this series. I am just going to stick to this one because I really like it. So let me show you what I used. Of course, I used my Black Soot Archival ink pad. I used some Colonial White cardstock, which I have used or will use throughout this series, at least to some degree. I'm hoping to use up most of that that I have left. And then I use this 3D Texture Fades from Tim Holtz. This is one of the brand new ones, and it's a fall leaf. It just came out very recently in the Sizzix Halloween release. So gorgeous. And then this is the rectangle Thinlit set. I believe this was part of chapter 3 Sizzix of 2021 that came out, and I used the largest rectangle in this. And then I used some of the new Distress Mica stains. Now I chose 4 colors for this one of the 6 Halloween ones. I have to tell you, I don't use sprays and stains like a lot of folks out there do, but these are stunning. I cannot tell you what a beautiful effect it puts on the cards. I kind of almost wish I had bought 2 sets. I know they're limited edition. If you can still get a hold of these, I highly recommend them. I can't wait for the Christmas ones to come out. So the 4 that I used were Flickering Candle, Crooked Broomstick, Jack-o'-lantern, and Bubbling Cauldron. Now, you don't have to be into Halloween to love these colors. I am not into Halloween. I don't do Halloween, but these colors are stunning. Alright, so for the first step, it's very, very simple. You just need to have a base to spray stain. So I've already set up my base, and we are not going to do this whole card. We're just going to do bits and pieces of the card because I want to focus on the card itself and not all, there's really not a lot of techniques, but I wanted to show you how little spray you have to use on these. So on these, I simply kind of came in at an angle, and I guess you can't really see my hand, but I came in at an angle, and of course I missed most of that one, and I just put just the smallest amount. 1 or 2 sprays was all I did of each color. Now, it probably would be best if you waited to add a second color. I didn't. I didn't mind if they blended a little bit, but I just went in and randomly sprayed some of them. And then, like I said, I used all 4 colors because I wanted that pop of green in there, but just the littlest bit of green. And I know I'm missing quite a bit on my towel, which is why I have a paper towel in there, but I really am just wanting just the slightest bit of color on here. Now again, I cannot tell you how gorgeous these are in real life, and I realize that background doesn't look like much now, but I'm telling you, it is gorgeous with these leaves. So now I would normally just hit this with my heat tool if I thought I was going to add more layers. I will tell you that for most of the cards that I did, and again I made about 24, 25 of them, for most of the cards that I did, I just did them 4 at a time, and then I immediately, after doing 4, took them over and ran them through the Vagabond with the embossing folder. When you're using the 3D embossing folders, it's a good idea that your paper be just the slightest bit wet anyway, and so it worked out perfectly. And then by the time I had finished, I was good to go ahead and start making my cards. You might, depending on how many you were doing, you probably, if you were just doing a few or one or two, you would probably want to go ahead and hit it with your heat tool to make sure it's really dry. And then because it is the 3D, I recommend using wet glue. Now I am going to use my collage medium on this one. I did not on the rest of them, but I would definitely recommend using a wet glue because you really want that to stay down, and I don't think it would with my ATG. That's just my opinion, but I don't think it would. Now, I am trying to think if I've ever even used this glue. I don't think I have, and it is not wanting to come out, so I'm not sure if there's a trick to using that. That is a new bottle of glue, and it's the first time I bought collage medium in a bottle, so I think I'm going to have to play with that. So hopefully I've got enough Gina K Connect here to make it stick. Now, like I showed you on the first video of this series, I am not going all the way to the edge with my wet glue, because when I press down, I want what is kind of more on the inside to seep out to the outside a little bit without going over, because that makes a mess. Yes, ask me how I know. I've made a few messes. Now, those leaves are random, so there really isn't a right or a wrong way to put them on there. And the other thing that I like is you have a little bit of wiggle room here so that you can make sure that it's on there nice and straight. And then I just hold it for a second. Now, the nice thing about using the Gina K Connect, I also use Scotch. It used to be called Quick Dry. Now I think it's just called Tacky Glue. I use so much of it. I made so many cards that I honestly had to order new, so it is coming. But you want to hold it for just a minute, but you don't have to hold it long, and then it is down and good to go. So this card's actually almost done, but I noticed that I've got some quality control issues here. It looks like my paper wasn't quite straight, so I am going to bring over my tonic cutter, and I am just going to trim that up right now before I do anything else. This trimmer is strong enough to handle. And I'm just going to shave just the tiniest amount off. It's not going to hurt anything on this particular card. No one will ever know, except for, you know, those of you watching the video, that I did this, but that does make a nice clean edge, and it's not enough that it's really going to affect anything on the card. And because it's just the that part of it, I'm not definitely losing anything as far as my design goes. So there we have that. So again, simple sentiment. I've actually already stamped the thank you, and I don't honestly even remember where that thank you came from. It's just part of an old set that I have. Most of my sentiment stamps are older, but again, it's just a quick thank you note. And so I'm going to also grab my wet glue, because again, I just don't think that it would adhere with all of the texture of that background. That background it's a 3D embossing folder, so you've got a ton of texture in there. And so I am going to just flip that over. Again, that's on Colonial White cardstock. And I'm just going to hold it, because with all that texture, I want to make sure it adheres. Now, if you wanted to, you could put that on foam tape and give that a little bit more dimension. Because I was making so many, I chose not to do that. But you might find that helpful. But one tip that I learned, and I honestly can't remember who I was watching that did this. It might have been Jennifer McGuire or Christina Werner, I'm not sure. But when they were working with a lot of dimension, when they put their foam tape behind it, they went ahead, after adhering their foam tape to their flat piece, they went ahead and put a few drops of wet glue on that foam tape. And I've started doing that when I'm dealing with a lot of dimension. And the more I use embossing folders on, I definitely find that to feel like it's really adhered better. So there we have our card. So yes, I chose to use it because it was simple, but it may not be quite as clean because there's not a lot of white space. But isn't it gorgeous? And I wish you could just see that shimmer. It's not really glittery, it's shimmery. And it is beautiful. I cannot wait, like I said earlier, for those Christmas ones to come out. So thanks for stopping by today, and remember, take some time to enjoy the little things. Have a great day. Bye.